Speaker of the day, Mr. Niranjan Upadhyay. Sir, may I have your permission to begin? Thank you. Sir has completed his degree BE Production from College of Engineering, Pune with first class. He has also pursued his executive MBA in Operations and International Business from MIT School of Management. He holds a diploma in Export and Import from Mitkan, Pune with distinction. A result oriented global management professional with comprehensive industrial experience of over 21 years, primarily in supply chain management, covering global sourcing, direct and indirect materials procurement, planning, supply chain management, logistic, commercial operations, import and export activities, budgeting, and business development. He showcases excellent skills to do strategic sourcing in consensus building and price negotiation coupled with proven expertise in coordinating with vendors, identifying and developing various sources of raw materials and other components to ensure uninterrupted supply of materials. He has a proven acumen in developing effective procurement and planning strategies, supply chain and logistic strategies and policies and SOPs to achieve optimum cost of goods and services, and overall commercial functions within the required time, budget, and quality standards. He has generated substantial cost economies in purchase, sourcing, stores logistic operations, and production operations. He has established and maintained strong working partnerships with key suppliers. His determined appropriate end to end processes and tools needed to achieve development, delivery, and reliability through supplier development process is also one of his forte. He has shouldered responsibility in terms of international business through export and import and shown his successful team building ability. Sir, I request you to please guide the students of our batch.
This slides are in this. Okay, this is forward, this is reverse, and this is torch. Okay, good evening. First of all, I congratulate all of you to join MBA at early age, because a person from any field has to do MBA, any field. Why? Because if the technology is there and if there is no management, there is no use of technology. So the basis of MBA is the backbone of any industry. Try to understand any field, any vertical, any business, any growth. It happens with management, and that too business administration. So you have done a right choice at right time, and now you have to take the right advantage of that to grow in terms of your growth, the country growth, the global growth, and you be a social responsible person who will be doing many good things in life. As I came to know that you have come from the background of three verticals basically. One is marketing, second is finance, and third is HR. Let me tell you, even though I am supply chain professional for last 21 years, 22 years, the supply chain concept is not only by putting an order, manufacturing the component and purchasing that component. No. Supply chain is basically anything and everything what you do for a business. What you do from your gate, security gate, till the product goes out of the gate, until you serve the product to the fullest. The whole gamut is supply chain. So if a person is from HR, he is also contributing to supply chain. If a person is from marketing, he is also putting efforts on supply chain. if a person is from marketing, HR, any function you call it, it is totally managing the supply chain. So first you have to remove the concept that supply chain is only the procurement action, development action. No, supply chain is a whole gamut from start to end and maintaining that business. With this small note, I would like to start today's session where I have concentrated basically on business challenge. What is the challenge? What is the global challenge? What is India challenge? What is local challenge? I have tried to club the things in such a way that you will come to know what is the global scenario, what is going on at present, then what is India in front of that global scenario, and in that where we stand locally. What are the international business challenges for globalization? First is global economy, then globalization, then international management, and then to manage everything, it's a global manager. See, in international market, manager is considered to be the highest level. Let me be frank with you. Ours in Indian scenario, the manager is supposed to be the starting point, but in international market, manager is supposed to be the plant head. So that global manager is the person who makes the difference in terms of international business. What are the international business challenges of globalization? Basically, global economy, resource supplies, product markets, business competition worldwide rather than local. Why I am saying, if you see the recent gold example, you will be surprised to know why the gold has been reduced so much. How the gold prices are been controlled? It is only globalization, nothing else. You know how much it has reached globally, it has touched 32,000 in INR. Recently it is 25,000, right? It has reduced, and it has an effect of globalization, nothing else. The globalization prices of gold has been reduced more than what we have reduced in India. And if you are not able to consider the global effect, we cannot analyze where we are standing. So anything and everything, if you want to do business, we have to do with global scenario. Even though you want to do a local business, you have to know the global scenario, where we are standing in terms of commodity. Now, if you see the Sensex in 1979, just go on the Google, you will come to know in 1979, the rate of gold was 1153 rupees. Okay, and now it is around 25,000 something. So it is almost, you can say, 25 times it has increased. But if you see the Sensex, 1979, the Sensex was 100. Today, what is the Sensex of India? It is 28,000, right? So it is 280 times. So how the commodity changes, how the market changes, and you have to analyze how the business is moving. What made changes of 100 Sensex to 28,000, and what gold prices, how it has been affected. So you have to analyze globally where the trends are, and all our Indian market, Indian shares also depends on global market scenario. If you see the Greece effect, it was there for our margin. At the same time, globally also, if you see Sensex of New York, everywhere there was an effect. So if you have to study the globalization effect when you stand locally. The process of growing interdependence of this component in global economy, what I was trying to explain you now. What are the international, again, challenges? Management in organization with business interests in more than one country. Means what? You cannot survive by producing the product in one country. Any challenges? You take the example of cars. If a car manufacturer manufactures the car and he says that I am going to supply only locally, he cannot survive. If it is globally, then only he can survive. The best example of the survival is Tata Motors. You tell me, Tata Motors was a flagship company years before, 10 years back. Okay, the economy, the Tata Motors shares were down. But in 2006, when they took over Land Rover and Jaguar, the company, and they run that company very successfully with new models launch, they were very much successful in their sales, their revenue, and that too in pounds, euros and dollars. What has led? Whatever effect they are having at present, whatever situation they have got today in Indian scenario, which they are rock bottom, if you ask me. They are bottom 3 players in terms of local manufacturing. Still they are surviving and they are showing profitability. Why? Only one word, that is globalization. They have purchased, they have taken the decision to purchase that, they have run that company, they have got the revenue, and as a company they have survived. So that is the best example. What is the global manager does? It is inform about international development, transactional in outlook, component in working with multicultural people, aware of regional development, a changing world. I will touch base what is meant by competent in working with multicultural people. You imagine a person going in India itself. People generally doesn't move from Pune area and work in you can say north or Bengal or south. They are reluctant. Why? In India itself we have so much resistance. Just imagine if we are going to a Middle East country, or we are going to an African country, or we are going to a European country, we are going to an American company, where we stand. So this plays a very important component in working with multicultural people. Conduct, what is international business? Conduct for profit transaction of goods and service across national boundary. Reason why business go international? Basically profit, customers, suppliers, capital, labor. I am not surprised after 2-3 years we will find that Indian operators will be Chinese, Taiwanese, Vietnamese. I am not surprised, because if you see in Maharashtra itself, we were having people from UP and Bihar working day and night for taking the economy to a high level, very hard working. What happened? They themselves have started developing such very hardly. All the states are coming up. You have a manpower shortage in the industry. We don't have manpower. Where it is going to come? Whichever cheap manpower is available, technically, skillfully, it is going to come. WHO has made a mandate to Indian government that from next year onwards, there should be a flow of labor throughout the globe in India. You cannot restrict. You cannot restrict. I personally have seen for many projects, Chinese people are working for major infrastructure projects. We don't have population. We have. Still, we are not competent to have manpower, and that too skillful and hardworking. See, basically, what is the globalization? Why I call globalization? You do the sourcing of parts locally, you do the parts globally. Why? Why there are raw material purchased from the countries which are having strength? For example, many times we come to know that iron ores are coming from particular side, and we have to purchase from that area only. Like for example, in casting industry, the sand is purchased from Goa, or you can say Konkan areas. Why? Because they have that particular availability. The same thing applies to the global scenario. Wherever the cheapest product is available, in abundance it is available, we have to purchase that in a bulk, and that has to be the requirement to suffice the demand and supply. You must be aware, in some 1-2 years back there was a onion prices shoot up, and we were not having onions. We have to purchase from Pakistan, right? Why? There was no other option. That was the cheapest way. So global sourcing plays a major role. whether it is a commodity, whether it is a engineering product, whether it is a technological product, anything. You tell me the Chinese product in stationery has ruined the market of India. Ruined the market, I am telling you. Diwali lamps, they have ruined. You just name it, the lamp industry, they have ruined. Slowly, slowly, they will start putting all their efforts and see that made in China parts will be there available everywhere. Last month I was in US, and I was just seeing, I was purchasing various products, and I was just seeing what is that product, whether it is made in USA or something like that. Not a single product I have found that it was made in US. Not a single product. It was in either made in China, made in Bangladesh, made in India. The pens which I bought, it was made in India, which I cannot get here. So what I am trying to say is, global sourcing plays a major role. Then exporting and importing. Exporting and importing. See, a particular country has a typical strengths. Like if you consider our country, our strength is very technical, very hardworking and brainy people. That becomes our USP. Secondly, that way compared to other countries, we are cheaper. Third, if you see the cotton industry, we are ample. So what I am trying to say, there are some strengths in particular countries which we have to tap, and in exchange we get something benefit from other countries. Like for example, in Middle East, we lot of imports we do of seeds and everything. In turn, we purchase lot of lubricants and all that, and that importing and exporting exchange, the strength between the two countries are going to lead the strength, and that is going to have a win-win situation. Nowadays, the world is becoming narrow, very competitive, and the prices are slashing like anything. They are coming rock bottom. You see the mobile industry is also coming to a very competitive world. So in that case, what is going to happen? Day by day, the world is going to be small. What price you are getting in India, the same price you will get in US. So how these things can be managed? How it will be more competitive? The only one way is to exchange the strength. If you are importing something, you have to export something. Then you get a benefit of import and export. Import and export, if there is imbalance, you cannot survive. So the same condition is of India. If you see, the import content is almost 65 to 70%, whereas what is export? We are hardly 20-25. It is total imbalance. We are still behind our target of 60-40 is the situation which makes us comfortable. Ideal situation will be 50-50, and a very good suggestion will be 60-40. So exporting and importing plays a very, very, very important market strategy, where in globalization, where you have to have the balanced view. Then licensing and franchise. This also plays a important role, because if you don't have a clear vision, if you don't have a clear strategy, if you don't have a clear objectives, if you don't have a steps to do the business in various countries, then licensing and franchisee plays a major role. Why? Because 2 years back, if you see Indians scenario, it was horrible. No one was ready to do business because there was so much bottlenecks in terms of licensing. There was huge corruption, still it is there, but I will touch base on Modi initiatives, but then it has been into a monitoring stage and it is into a control stage. So licensing and franchisee plays a major role. Then direct investment strategies plays, there are two ways actually. What is the two ways? One is joint venture and second is foreign subsidiaries. See, joint venture means basically, you must be aware, the most successful joint venture thing which has been there for Indian government was Maruti, and it was initiated in 75, and it is a very great success story. Eventually, government came out of that because of the money requirement. But then, it was a very good joint venture thing. There are so much joint ventures which are successful in India. The best example is Tata's, where they have a lot of JVs. If you remember, in Pune, there are almost a dozen companies which are having joint ventures. They are called Tata Auto Components, but they have world leaders. They have made the joint ventures and they have grown with joint ventures. Then foreign subsidiaries means basically they have the alliances in terms of in the Indian government. You take the companies like Volkswagen, they have come. The growth happens very nicely. The tier 1 companies growth is there. There is an employment thing. If you consider in Pune, the GE has a multi-vertical plant, state-of-art plant, which was inaugurated by respected Modi. And that plant is of 7 verticals of GE. They have 7 to 8 verticals, different businesses like medical, then railways, then automobile, and they do the assembly, production, machining on a single line. That is the only plant in the world where they are having a common facility in Pune to manufacture all the products on single line. So increasing involvement in ownership and control of foreign operations, that is going to actually the key thing in terms of global development. So what are the internal business? Again, direct investment strategy require major capital commitment but create rights of ownership and control over foreign operations. See, it's very difficult to do direct investment. Like I will give you the bad part of that also. POSCO, almost 10 years they are trying in India to have a manufacturing facility. 5 years back they were trying to have a facility in Maharashtra. Last 5 years they are struggling to start the operations in Orissa, but they are unable to do. Direct if you see, 1 minute. So if you see, the direct require major capital commitment but creates rights of ownership and control over foreign operations. POSCO is not able to do that. They are committed but they are not able to do it. There are so companies that like GE, I told you, they have a total control and they have invested and they want to grow. So there are 2 types of equations, and our India is going to grow only with all the facilities to be on the safer side. A foreign person comes and invests, if we give him the security, if we give them the safety, then only they are ready to invest. If they are not ready to invest. Because once you put the money and it is in bulk, POSCO was supposed to invest around 18,000 crore investment in Orissa for their plant. And there are so much companies. You must be knowing Dabhol power plant in Maharashtra. It was a setback because of government fight. So this is very important. Then types of direct investment strategy I have explained you. Criteria for choosing joint venture partner: familiarity with your firm's major business, strong local workforce, future expansion possibility, strong local market for partners' own product, good profit potential, and a sound financial standing. Any person who would like to do the marriage with a local partner, he will always see all these 6 things, whether it is possible with the partner. If it is not, he is not going to invest. Again, I will repeat: familiarity with your firm's major business, strong long workforce, future expansion possibility, strong local market for partners' own product, good profit potential, and sound financial standing. So these are the basic things a joint venture partner looks of, and we can take it further. What are multinational corporations? What do they do basically? A multinational corporation, MNC, is a business with extensive international operation in more than one foreign country. What are the mutual benefit for the host country and MNC? They shared growth opportunity, shared income opportunities, shared learning opportunities, shared development opportunity. See, basically, I will share all this data to you. That's not a problem. You just listen. We will have a more on an interactive. You can ask the questions. You can write it, but I am going to give it to your institute, so you can have it. That's not my. I believe in sharing the knowledge, so that's not a problem. So share growth opportunity, share income opportunity, share learning opportunity, and share development opportunity. So if these four things are there, now there is a mutual interest between both of them, and the things move further. If they find one of them is not there, many times the joint venture partner comes directly and do the investment then, if they are not finding comfortability in any of them. What is the important challenge in international business negotiation? Communicating effectively across culture. I told you, communication plays a major role in global market. If you are not having a good communication skill, starting with English and then with foreign language, you should have at least one language. English should be the base, and addition to that, you should have learn one language. Maybe it may be German, it may be French, it may be anything. It may be Japanese, it may be Chinese. Any one language you should know, compulsory. I am telling you, because the next era is going to be a no cultural differences. You will find a lot of foreign people coming and working here, you going there. So there will be a exchange of cultures. You should know their culture, you should be aware of their culture also, and then there should be an exchange of culture also. There are no barriers now, I am telling you. A lot of people are going to come here, you are going to be there. You don't have boundaries. Like for example, you will not, many of them you will have international career. So you have to be aware with this, communicating effectively across cultures. And the basic thing is of language. If you are able to know the language properly, you can do wonders. See, if you see the percentage of world output tied to the local language, first is English, that is 33% globally. Then is Mandarin, then is Spanish, then is German, then is French, then Arabic, and then Hindi. 2% Hindi. Just see how we will be survived into the global scenario when 2% of the people are knowing our language. So you have to have one language additional, so that you have edge than other people to do the communication. Once you do the communication, then things becomes easier. According to World Bank study, India has one of the most cumbersome and lengthy process for seeking construction permits. If you ask me, see the rank. Why I have taken one thing, because India is struggling on a infrastructure requirement. You are aware that in evening, you may be staying here, but some few people may be living locally here. They must be observing that at 6 o'clock, if a person moves from here and he has to travel 15 kilometers, he takes at least 1 hour in the evening. Exactly, there is issues in terms of infrastructure. Infrastructure means there are roads, basic, then lighting, then water, then buildings. All this comes under that. And why? Ease of doing business. If you see India overall business doing, it is 132. Starting a business, rank 173. Procedures number 12. Time days 27. Cost, if you see per capita, it is 49.8. Minimum capital of income per capita 140. What I am trying to say is, it is very difficult, and we have to improve on this thing. What exactly Modi government is doing. I will touch base in detail the initiatives what he is taking, but what I am trying to say is, it's very difficult to do business in India still. See, I have been to China. I was surprised that when I went, the corporator person received to me, came to receive at my airport, and he was taking care for next 3-4 days that how I am happy and how I do the investment in his state. There is a lot of state to state competition in China, and you will be surprised to know the land, it is owned by government. The electricity and water is negligible, it is almost free. So a person doing a business, he has a land, he has a electricity, he has a water. All the three basic things are almost at a cheap rate. Why they are competitive? You have to analyze their thing. I went to the depth and I found that all the land they are giving in lease 99 years and they are renewing it. So major capital investment of land, electricity and water is taken burden by the government. And why he cannot be competitive in the world? These are very small things. When I go into the depth, I came to know this was the situation. And same thing Modi government is taking, but it is going to take time. You have to have the patience till we get to the right path. India dealing with construction permit is this situation. Time days, it is almost so much days, and that too with lot of corruption. I am telling you. If we are not able to come out of this situation, this stigma, no one is willing to do the investment to the fullest. And what exactly the government is doing now? India has reduced time from 227 days to 196 days to process building permit application by implementing strict time limits and municipalities. There is an improvement, definitely there is an improvement, and there is a long way to go, but it is at the right track. But still a long way to go, as India ranks 182 out of 185 countries. Just see, see the situation. And it has a huge cost association with this process passed on to the consumer. Why your square foot rate increases? The building, the construction cost and the land cost is 1500 rupees max per square foot. Why it is 6,000, why it is 7,000, why it is 8,000? Because of all those things. Why China is having an edge over India? Why I have taken consideration of China? Because in global scenario also, all the global leaders, countries compare China with India. And if I am not mistaken, China in terms of, we are only equal in population. They will cross their population in some years. But the major manufacturing sector, they are exactly 4 times than us. Exactly 4 times, I am telling you. The amount of vehicle which we make, 10 lakhs if we are making, they are making 40 lakhs vehicle per year. Exactly 4 times. Any manufacturing you take, they are 4x. Not less than that. Any production. So build, but it may need to work infrastructure, road, railroads, ports, airport. The infrastructure, the basic equipment structure such as road bridges that are needed for a country, region, etc. function properly. This basically why China had an edge, because they had a very smart move. All the coastal city, if you go to China, all the coastal city are advanced cities, and as you go to the interiors, they are not so advanced. They are still in premature stage. But it was a Chinese government strategy that we want to do business with globe. We have to see that the globe is served by our people. It should be made in China, nothing else. And with that concept, they have developed all the coastal areas to a very advanced cities where you have a very good infrastructure, very good business scenario, and they are growing. They have grown with that, and now they have touched base into the interiors. See, first, Chinese government, what they do, they build roads, they build lights, facility, water availability, and then the rest things they are settled. First, they do the roads building. Their major target, wherever there are no population, first build the roads. Automatically, the population is going to capture there. So they have a different strategy altogether. So they are, because of that, there is a success. You can see China and India both sell cheap manufacturing good, but China sells more because it has a better transportation. As I told you, they have developed the coastal cities. infrastructure and government that supports manufactured export. How government supports? By giving land, by giving electricity, by giving water. You feel that our government is doing justice in any of the states to that level? I don't think. Except whatever 4 years, 5 years back Gujarat government has done in terms of roads, in terms of electricity. Not also water. I have been to that area. But these two areas, they have improved a lot. If you see economic indicators of our own country, see, I started with global scenario first, then I am coming to India now. Largest democracy, 1.1 billion population, wide-ranging reforms to open deregulate economy, GDP over 8% in 2005-6, and if you see we are at a level of 6 to 7% still, which is a very good sign compared to the world standard. Gross GDP 3 trillion, fourth largest economy in the world after US, Japan and China. Annual per income is this, one of the lowest in the world, but even though GDP is 3 trillion, you can see the income thing, which is the lowest. India's remit about 18.3 billion back to India annually, which is the highest in the world. In 2003, total 9 out of 500 list company of BSE and NSE, this is the old data. Total market capitalization 20 to 25% of GDP. Top 100 BSE companies represent almost 86% of market capitalization. State-owned enterprise account for nearly 30%, 32% of BSE market capitalization. Why I have given this figure? Because these are the economic indicators. You have to know this economic indicator. Don't go on the figure. You have to know the current figure, what is going on with this thing. You can know the lifeline of a country with this radar. See, if you see economic outlook of India, what was it? India, the world fourth largest economy, adjusted to the purchasing power parity. You can see it. United States is at 10.2, which is the leading. Then China, then Japan, and then India. And if you see the top growth centers until 2020, it is India, then Malaysia, then China, Thailand, and Turkey. So in the world scenario, there is a very positive scenario in terms of our country. You can see the growth which is going to happen. Indian economy is expected to grow at an average 5.5 per annum until 2020. First, in any other country of the world, it is the fastest growth. There is a lot of potential in terms of growth. This is a Goldman Sachs report of 1st October. Dreaming with BRIC, the path to 250. India GDP will reach 1 trillion by 2011. And really speaking, we have touched that. 2 trillion by 220, 3 trillion by 2025, and 6 trillion. If you go to 2050, it will be 27 trillion. That will be the third largest economy after US and China. Means after 250, we are overtaking Japan. Just see the amount of development a Japan country, which is exactly, if I am not mistaken, 1/3 of our country. And in population, they are 1/10. India will overtake Italy by year 2016. As you know, Europe situation, we have already overtaken them. France by 2020, again France is at a very bad state. UK also is at a very neutral stage, but we can overtake in 2020 only. Germany and Japan is a challenge. It's very difficult. You all people is going to see this change when you actually starts working into the operations. Now I will touch base on Modi. This I wanted to brief you in detail. Why? Because whatever basic initiatives he has taken, that is going to face a fortune for our country. He has not touched base any advanced thing which is required. He has touched base on the basics. and at the same time with the digital word technology. So he has a combination of both. So if you see, first he has started with Pradhan Mantri Jana Yojana, the first big social welfare scheme of Modi government. This scheme was launched to achieve the complete financial inclusiveness in the country. This was launched by PM Modi on 20th August 2014 with a target to open 7.5 crores bank accounts for the person who do not have a bank account. This account is to be used to provide the direct benefit transferred to the citizen for various schemes and subsidies provided by the government. See, basic aim of Modi government was, we are not able to help the poor people. We were not able to help the poor people. We were not able to uplift the poor people. Even though we were having 10% of the money which is required actually, suppose I required a 100 rupee note and I am having 10 rupees and I have 100 people to get share. We were able to share only 4 people out of that 10 rupees, and rest is to get diverted, the funds used to get diverted anywhere. So first thing what he did is a clear account where we can give the subsidy, can give the facility, and at the same time when you collect so much money from so much people, you are automatically, the economy is going to grow, because that cash, whatever those people were having, there was not movement. See, in a business, if we don't have a cash flow and if the water is stagnant, then there will be no growth. The water get polluted. Same thing is money. If it is not rotated, what you do in shares, if the money is not getting rotated, it gets either plus or minus, and you don't know where it stands actually. At the end of 5 years, you come to know that it has been at the wrong bottom. After 5 years, you may not have that 15% return. Whether it is true? No. It has to be moving. And that was his main aim, to start this account, give to the justice to the people, to have a proper channel, and it was very successful scheme. It was very successful scheme. Second was Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Why? Because if you go to nearby countries like Sri Lanka also, if you see the cleanliness what these people are having, or you go to any Middle East countries, European countries, to that matter any country, except few countries like us, Bangladesh and all that, but Pakistan, Bangladesh and all that, but if you see that the major theme was cleanliness, you will find so clean things and you feel to live at that place. And that's exactly the biggest hit of this government was Swachh Bharat nationwide mission to clean India street, ensure sanitation. Prime Minister officially launched this Clean India initiative on 2nd October, that was Gandhi Jayanti. On the occasion of Gandhi Jayanti, under this national campaign, the streets, roads, infrastructure of 404 statutory towns will be clean. This is the biggest ever cleanliness program which was launched by Modi himself. Since then, he has nominated a number of personalities and celebrities as Amitabh Bachchan, Sachin Tendulkar. The campaign aimed to accomplish the vision, a clean India, by 2nd October 2019, the 150th birthday of National Father Mahatma Gandhi. See, he has taken some targets, he is approaching towards the target, and you really feel that if the environment is going to be clean, the benefit is going to be yours only. And the government is not only responsible for cleaning, everybody, any small person who is doing the work is responsible to have this cleanliness objective. And really you feel like, if I come from US, first 2-3 days are horrible for me. I see that why I am staying here. That is the motive what it happens, because I am not able to cross the streets. People are moving here and there, then there are a lot of garbage, and it's so bad situation. Let me be frank. I was in Boston. Boston is like Pune, okay, and if you see their traffic signals and all that, and traffic police on the road, you will hardly find any traffic police there. No, people follow the signal, people follow the rules, and as far as possible they have made the circles, And if you make the circles in the choke, then there is a smooth flow of traffic. Why I am telling you such thing? Because now henceforth these steps are going to take place. Then Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, because as you rightly means, if you ask me, in China, you will see exactly opposite. The Chinese ladies are more operating into the manufacturing than the gents. I was very surprised, and the gents were doing the cooking, because one Chinese person I asked, he told me that why you are leaving. I just asked him why you are leaving early. I am moving early because I have to cook the food for my wife. She is expecting, so I am doing the cooking thing, and generally I only do the cooking. And if you see the manufacturing, the lady was doing the welding, the lady was doing the manufacturing activity, and I was surprised. The supervisor was a lady, the manufacturing to the rock bottom manufacturing was done by ladies, and they have given so much importance to the equality. In US also, you will find that everyone is equal. And unfortunately in India, right from the old days, we had that stigma that ladies cannot do anything and they have to do the home activity. It's exactly opposite in throughout the world. They can do wonders and they have equal opportunity. So that Beti Bachao was to have the equality. It was launched on 23rd, 2015 from Haryana, taking a note of lower sex ratio. And it was implemented in 100 districts across the country. Third was Ganga, again the clean effect, has also shown concern of cleaning of rivers in India, because if you see the water situation in India, it is terrible. You will have excess water or you will have a shortage of water. There is no management. And the basic reason is, if we are not able to maintain the river flow, the water doesn't go to the right place. And that is the reason we have to have this project into the consideration. There are a lot of pollution. If you see the pollution, then there are mosquitoes, then there are issues, there are problems like diseases. You must be aware that it was dengue first, then it was then in between swine flu. All these things happens because of having non-cleanliness. Then he announced a sum of rupees 2037 crores for cleaning and conservation of Ganga. In addition, a sum of rupees 100 crores has been allocated to developments of ghats and beautification of rivers fronts at various cities. You go to Ahmedabad, you will find a beautiful lake. I am telling you, beautiful. You feel like walking through the roads. The road path is exactly the width of this hall. Footpath for just walking. He has done that, and you will not find a single paper on that lake which has been thrown. He has proven his taste first, and he is proving now the India. Then, as you know, Make in India, this Hanover show is the biggest show in globe in terms of engineering, advancement, technology. It is in Europe, and this booking has to be done at least 14 to 15 months before to get this allocation. Now you must be aware that Narendra Modi is hardly 14 months in this ruling. How he has managed this thing? You will be surprised to know that he was so confident of winning the election. He himself has visited there, put his team there, visited and seen to it that a sum of amount has been given for next Hanover to start, and this was a great success. This was a great success. Before electing, he had made the arrangement that next time India is going to launch Hanover show. You can see government, after winning a historic mandate in May 2014 to end the coalition era that lasted 2 decades. It was in May 2004 he win the election, and this was done in January 2014 with his team. As bullish on foreign investment and introduced several initiatives and measures undertaken Make in India campaign to allow foreign manufacture of mass consumption goods, making of local advantages and availability of skilled manpower at a cost that is substantially lower than the advanced country economies. If we are able to do that, if you see, if there are recessions and if there are no jobs, we don't have securities. If you go outside, government has a security for a person who is not employed. They give minimum wages. We don't have. How Greece was a failure? Government was paying hefty on insurances. They were paying hefty on non-working community. They were hefty in development activities, and through whose money? Through Europe, other countries' money, as well as World Bank money. Whether we can afford that? We cannot. And that's the reason when Greece bailout was there, people were crying. They were not having answers who is going to pay for their livelihood. And same is in India. We don't have any security. The only security what we can have is to have a good knowledge, good education, and to have a sustenance power to do some activity with that. And if you ask me, this is Make in India is going to save our country. However small a person may be, if he is doing initiative like this, we are going to save. Then other major initiative recently, which is smart city and clean governance. If you see the smart city vision, excellent vision. The same thing what China did. They also had 100 odd countries, they have been cities which they have developed on coastal area in China, and now they are going to the interiors, but they did the smart city concept only. So same thing Modi is trying to implement in India, but in a different way. He says that where there are skill sets, where there are ample resources, he wants to develop that as a smart city. So if you go into the detail of Modi's smart vision takes shape, it is excellent how he has given the selection pattern. Then absolutely clean governance. Clean governance means you are aware that for passport you used to take months together. You used to get the rounds and all that. But by doing campaign, then offloading to Tata Consultancy the services, many things have improved. I have my own experience when I went to passport. It was over in half day, and in 1 week's time I got the passport. That also the visit of police Chowki was there. That was the only hitch, and that also he is now going to remove that very soon. So what I am trying to say is there is a clean governance initiative and it is going to take place. Thank you. Any questions? Any questions you can ask.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Wait.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I am Soumyaranjan Das. Sir, I want to ask that what will be the impact of FDI if it enters our country directly?
See, basically, as I told you, the cash flow is going to be a major decision. If we are not able to have the cash flow, definitely there will be the impact in terms of market, and that is going to have the effect if we don't have the FDI into that, because foreign direct investment rules overall economy in terms of growth. We ourselves cannot grow. We have to catch base the foreign direct investment. We have to have the marketing strategy, which exactly respected Narendra Modi sir is doing, and we have to get along with his initiative. Absolutely. Your question?
Good evening, sir. So my name is Biswajit Datta. I am from Siliguri, West Bengal. So my question to you is, sir, the improvement in the economic condition of India, what will be the implication on if we are going towards a service line or in the business line, what will be better? Which path will be better, a service line or a business line?
Always, if you ask me, it will be business line. Why? Where there is a manufacturing, you have the clear picture in terms of growth. On service line, overnight, we don't know how a competitive edge happens. Like, if you are aware that BPO services was very at a peak 2 years back in India. If you see now, Vietnam people are equally good, and Chinese, which are having barriers in terms of English, also has proved to be very competitive. So, if you ask me, business is the first choice and then service.
Thank you, sir.
A very good evening to you, sir. My name is Prakhar Khare and I am from Sagar, MP. My question to you is, like you have talked about joint venture business, and by 2020 India is going to be a superpower and the third largest economy in the world. In the coming future, in the business world, which type of business is going to overlap the other, a joint venture or sole proprietorship?
If you ask me, the joint venture always plays a major role, and it grows both. If it is a sole proprietorship, it depends on the company policies. All companies are not having a social responsibility in terms of CSR. So, if it is a joint venture, it is going to be benefited, because then you are assured that you are going to get revenue 50% at least to be retained at our end, including the profitability. So, always you see that joint ventures are the technique, because if you go to China, those people have made a mandatory thing that you should have a joint venture thing, and they should have 1% more than the other partners. Why? To have the edge only. So, that is going to be always benefiting.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir. My name is Mayank Sancheti. I am from Jodhpur, Rajasthan. My question to you, sir, as Modi government has taken many initiatives now in a year, how we, as a student of MBA, could initiate his policies?
See, basically, as I told you, as you have joined as a management course, what exactly is we are lagging is managing the resources. If we have a agricultural production, we don't have a facility of storage. If we have a facility of storage, we don't have transportation facility. If we have a transportation facility, we don't have distribution channels. If we have a distribution channel, we don't have proper packing. So, the basic things which is going to help us to manage all this thing is at each level. So, you have to have an approach in terms of Make in India, and that should be competitive globally. Why I have touched base globally first? Because that is going to have us edge than other countries, and we can survive. We cannot survive on our own. I am telling you, we have to get survive with having manufacturing, selling this manufacturing to the globe. You must be amazed that Hyundai production, 60% of their production goes to export. You are aware? And that is the reason they are able to survive. You know, Volkswagen Pune plant is locally selling only 20%, 30%, and now they are exporting, and they will be surviving. If we don't have export, we cannot survive. Local demand, we cannot survive. What has happened to Mahindra and Tatas, which are locally making? They have tremendous critical crisis situation. If we are not competitive globally in terms of quality first and then pricing, we cannot survive.
Yes, sir.
digitalization, being open with the information, giving clear information to the customer. And means if you see Information Act, if we are able to implement at each level and we are transparent, things will be better. The procedural requirements, whatever are there, if we are able to be transparent and we are going to reduce it with all the steps what these people are doing, which I gave the example of passport, the things are going to be better. Because at present the construction industry is under tremendous pressure. Their sustaining power is ending now, and that is the reason now government should act on that. If they are able to do something on terms of policies, procedures and clearances, things will be better, 100% better, and there will be growth.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I am Parul Pawar. Sir, as you told that in the coming future, people from abroad will be coming in India for employment.
Yes.
There will be no restriction. And in India, unemployment is itself a problem for Indians itself.
Yes.
So how that condition will be managed?
We cannot, because as we have taken so much loan from WHO and we are bound to their conditions of that agreement, we have to globally accept some policies, and we were prolonging for many years, but now the time has come we cannot. Or if we are doing that, we will not get assistance from World Health Organization, and that will be a major setback. So there is no choice, but you have to compete with global operators, then skilled, unskilled, and all types of people. I am telling you, you will be surprised to know that there are people who are coming from outside at a managerial levels also now, and they are working very clearly, and they have a very you can say free nature in terms of working anywhere. They are very cultural acceptance people. If you ask, our people are very difficult to go abroad and do the work, except there are few countries where our people are going.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
My name is Shetal Janawat from Indore, Madhya Pradesh. My question to you is, Make in India is to make goods and export them worldwide like China. But do you think we can compete China in this as it is already established?
No. See, the biggest advantage of ours is we have a age compared to China in terms of language. If you see, our managerial people are almost 99% speak English. So first barrier of language is clear. Second, we have a very skilled manpower. Our in world scenario, people consider as Indians as brainy people, and I don't think that is a bottleneck. In fact, we have a very good age in terms of Chinese people, and we can surpass them. The only thing is that we should have a infrastructure in place at our country, which is at present a best means the topmost challenge in front of government, but we can do it.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir. My name is Aditi Jadhav. I am from Dhar, Madhya Pradesh. My question to you is, sir, how does balance of payment affect economy of a country? And like you said about China, so can't we put some trade barriers so that the Chinese product sell less in India?
See, as I told you, we have made a WHO agreement, World
Yes.
Trade Organization, WTO and WHO, both agreements we have made, and we have to accept the norms if the product is at the same price, same specification, and if they are competing with the pricing, we cannot stop. You know, in US, the Japanese people are having almost 59% of market share in terms of automobile. 59%. We cannot stop. They will compete, they will come. Only if the products are making the society hazardous, if there are issues, then definitely government takes the steps, like in some period they have made the toys which were painted with some chemicals which were affecting. They have stopped in between 1 year, but again it has started. You can't do it, but there is limitations
Thank you, sir.
because it is an open economy.
Good evening, sir. My name is Ayushi Chhatri. I'm from Indore, Madhya Pradesh. So my question to you is that last year when our Honorable Prime Minister won the election, he went to Medicine Medicine Square for addressing the people who are out there,
Right,
the Indian
right.
audience. So I'd like to know, sir, is that any way beneficial for us if those people come back to India? So do you think we'll be hindering our balance of payments by this?
See, they need not come here. Na? If they are transferring the money
Yeah, right.
and they are helping out the Indian economy, they can stay there itself
Yeah, right.
because they are going to earn more by staying there
Right.
rather than here.
Yes, sir.
So they did not come here.
Right. But,
They will be helping out. See, if you see countries like Middle East, the Keralite people, they are staying there. But if you see their money, that is in India, and that is the advantage to India. Same thing, if you see Gujarati people in US, they are staying there, but their bank accounts are here and they are putting the money here. So they are helping our economy. They need not come here. They can stay anywhere in the world. At the same time, they can help our economy to grow. And if you if you hear respected Modi's speech, he has trust-based the basics. He has not giving anything. He has pensioned the toilets. We don't have enough toilets. When I was in China, we are comfortable. The facilities which they have providing to a common man is absolutely great. And these are basics. And he was not ashamed to speak in front of so much people that we don't have toilets. And that is a real fact. And I think he is at the right track. But we have to have patience. See, any business you do, it takes 3 to 4 years for a bigger business to come to a break-even stage. Now, if you consider India as a business, you can imagine how much years it should take. So you have to have patience, and it is going to prove something positive.
Sir, my name is Supriya Singh. I am from Durg, Chhattisgarh. And my question to you is, sir, up to which extent the globalization should be there? Because it also affects the employment and economic ratio. So up to which extent the globalization should be there in a country?
See, the ideal situation should be globalization should be at least at a 30% level for a country, for a company. And if it is balancing the trade deficit between import and export, that is okay. But if it is less, suppose it is 10% you are exporting and you are doing import which is very high, or you are having local manufacturing 90% and export 10%, the ideal situation will be 30-70 or 60-40. So you have to have bigger, you can say a sizable quantum in terms of export and at the same time local. Both are equally important.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir. My name is Novlin Lobo. I am from Goa. So my question to you is, you have said that when you were in Boston, there were products from India, Japan, etc.
Yeah.
So why is that those products are not available to us here in India? Is there a reason for it?
See, basic thing is the pricing. The products which are available there, they are not cheap. They are expensive, but they are value for product. And they don't sell cheap products. They sell only standard products. So we in India, we have a freedom to buy the cheap products also, and we have a freedom of valued product also. But if you go abroad, you will see that there is a standardization, and you will find that the products are not cheap. Whatever the products are good and they are value for money, like for example, Apple. You take the example of Apple. Now Apple is manufactured in US. It is not manufacturing in US. It was manufacturing in China. But if you see that the product, it is selling, even though the cost is good, it's a technological driven product. The similar example if I take of Samsung, Samsung was nowhere, I am telling you, nowhere. 10 years back, they were nowhere. Now they are the global players. They are compared with iPhone. And why they have come to that level? Because availability of the product at a cheaper rates. At the same time, they give value for money. They have a different products. They have a cheaper products. They have a expensive product, and global network is substantially great. Same with all products. The scenario is same. So whatever products available there, they are of some standard, and the same products of same quality in India you get at a higher price. Like for example, if I take a apple in Boston, suppose, the same apple is costing here also for 250 rupees per kg. It is not cheap. It is same.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir. My name is Saloni Vaishnav. I am from Indore, Madhya Pradesh. So, as you have mentioned, most of the schemes that Modi launched, one of the recent scheme was to let go your gas subsidy by the people, so that the poor people who use chula, and that affects the family members, the health of their family members. So, sir, since that announcement has been done, the people of India has been reluctant to let go their gas subsidies. So my question is, government is doing their bit. Mr. Narendra Modi is doing his bit as a Prime Minister. What should the people of India should do to support this? Because the country is run by government and the people. It cannot only run by the efforts of government. So what can we do from our side?
See, it's very clear. Any initiative which government does, it starts with ourselves. Suppose we are literate and we know that we don't require a gas which is extra, and if we restrict to the requirements and we don't do something adjustment in terms of our requirement, that itself is a help. Secondly, as you know, the subsidies are being given to the people to only avoid the black practices, and that is not completed. If you see, there are a lot of chaos, whether it should be linked to Aadhaar card, how it should be given. Many people are getting, many people are not getting. Anything at this major event which has been launched, it takes time to take its shape. It is under transition. I think in next 6 months it will get saturated, and then we will get the benefit. And in urban thing, most of the places it will start with gas pipes. So that initiative also it has started.
Yes, sir. The gas pipes are already available in lot of cities. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir. My name is Ushang and I am from Ahmedabad. So I want to ask a question that do economy of a country play a impact on trade procedure between two countries?
Yes, absolutely. If your economy is not to the survival position, no one will do the business. I have told you, in the globalization, if a partner is not having a financial strength, they will not be interested to do business. Why they will be interested? If they are not able to face money by doing the business, why they will? And if they want to invest in your country, where your economy itself is a problematic, how they will take the risk? So definitely, 100%.
Hello. Good evening, sir. My name is Biju Kinkar Goswami. I am from Guwahati, Assam. So you just said that Narendra Modi addressed the people abroad who are staying from India. They need not come back, as they are helping the economy by staying abroad. But don't you think the brains which are working for companies abroad should be working for India, for the development of India? Because still now also the engineers and the MBA, those who pass out from India, they have an aim of going abroad and having a job over there, but they don't want to have a job in India. So doesn't that affects the economic development?
100%. It's called brain drain. A typical word for that is brain drain. And if the brains are available in the country, it is 100% it is going to be useful. But you have to ask yourself question whether that brains to come here, what basic facilities you will be providing, whether they will be liking, why these people are staying there, because standard of life, ease of life, 5 days working, no traffic jams, environment free, health free, giving time to yourself. If these things are available here, they will jump. Why not? And that situation is going to come, but it will take time. It will take time. If it is a comfortable situation to live, definitely they will come back. You have to make that provision to have attractiveness in your own country. If that happens, people will definitely come. Why not? 100%.
Good evening, sir. My name is Monica Shrivastava. My question to you is, sir, as we all know about Nestle product of Maggi is banned in India. As we all know, tobacco is not good for the health. Why tobacco is not banned in India?
See, at mass level, you cannot ban something which is having the individual requirement, which will not affect the other person. Like if you are consuming that, it is getting you affected to yourself, not affecting others, right? So basically these people are restricting this product to get sale only by hiking the taxes, hiking the prices, which is in their hand. You cannot ban a product which is a wish that I want to survive. Why all this wines and all that is been sold? That is also not good for health, if you ask me. And still we have to do it, because if a person is enjoying to get it consumed and it is not affecting the others, then they will continue. They are affecting, it's their choice. Whoever is taking it is their choice. They are not making compulsion to take, but they are making their taxation in such a way that few people will take that who really wants it, and they are restricted by the normal people, because it is becoming so expensive that a common man cannot take it now. I am telling you, a small working person cannot take it. And slowly, if you ask me, in many states it was banned, and it has been banned in terms of gutka and everything. It has been banned. And as far as Maggi is concerned, it is like you have found the product faulty. It was been sold for many years, and people were aware of that thing, and they were used to that product. Our body itself was used to that poison, and they were consuming. But when they notice, immediately they have stopped it. And same thing they have closed down in UK also. Immediate effect was in UK also. So anything, we are not able to study the product properly. What we eat, whether it is good for our health or not, if we are not able to analyze, it will have an effect. Why people are started buying organic vegetable, even though there is 10, 15, 20% more price than the regular vegetables? Because it has the importance. Because we don't know the effects afterwards, what is going to happen, and we don't know what exactly in near future it is going to happen. We consume it, we don't know the effects, what is going to happen. So one must be knowledge of the product, what we are consuming, we are using, and then go in a very cautious way in terms of using it. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, my name is Abhishek Joshi. I am from Indore, Madhya Pradesh. My question to you is, Modi ji allowed that 100% FDI recently. So is there any negative effect of that? Because after that, Walmart cut that with Bharti Airtel. So is there any negative effect in India?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Why? Because he has to market his country in such a way that people come here, do their business, feed the local people. If a MNC comes, it gives a opportunity for employment. The biggest challenge for our country, again, employment is the biggest challenge. Like it is in US, in Europe, in India, it is more severe because ours totally depends on employment. We are not secured.
Sir, in that situation, our currency is also going there. They are also profit. They are also gaining so many profit from here.
Yeah, but you get the technology, you get the upgradation of product. If we would have not have this open culture policy, how you will be able to enjoy the products which are globally competitive, globally technological level? How like for example, if you want to drive a car, still today we do not have the competency which the people of engineering automobile at a higher level like BMW, Mercedes. We have that capability to manufacture in India? No, still not. We have done it with their help only, na? And we have started manufacturing BMWs and Mercedes in India, and at the same time we are enjoying that also. Be open, you can ask questions, not a problem. Don't keep in your mind. It will remain in your mind only then. At least you understood the challenges, the concept which I came. I started with globalization, then I came to India, then I came to local scenario. I wanted to give you local scenario also. Like Modi government has taken a lot of steps. If you see Narendra Fadnavis, who is the CM of Maharashtra, he is exactly putting exactly the same steps what Modi is doing. Exactly same steps. He also visited US, he also visited Europe, he also visited Southeast countries, he is also marketing our state. And if you ask me, Maharashtra was right from the beginning in aggressive mode, but other states like MP have come in a very aggressive mode. UP and Bihar, where we were finding the very downgrade states, they are coming up to a level of very advanced states, and that is a very good part. See, we should not have state to state competition. It should be a healthy competition, and one state should help other state to grow. Finally, it is India. We have so many states, we have a lot of diversity, but if we are together as a team, we can do wonders. We can do wonders. And the best example is IT. If you see IT company, you will find from all states people are working, all states, and happily working, and they have a good gel, and because of that, lot of people from other states are staying in Pune, in Bangalore, in Delhi, and it is a very good culture. And when there is a diversity and culture, and we have a uniqueness, and we have a strength as a team, we can beat any player. I'm telling you, any player. I have been to West Bengal area, Siliguri, very nice places. But if you ask me in terms of manufacturing, they are lagging. They are lagging only because of political unrestment. How Tata Nano, you must be aware. If that plants would have been there, huge. Tata went there in Singur. With that, 100 tier 1 companies also went, and they were still bigger. But overnight, if that decision they have taken, and now see the Sanand, the total place, if you visit Sanand, absolutely, they have built the roads first, they have built the lamps first, and see the industry, how they have catch all multinationals, Honda, Maruti, then Tata, Mahindra, you name the players, they are available in Sanand, in Gujarat. It has totally changed its scenario. It was nowhere. If you ask me 5 years back, Sanand was starting. If you see now, it is at a mature stage. It has totally changed. He has first proved his state, and then he is proving India. So he is the right person at the right time, and we have to have the patience only to see that we grow. Any other? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom. It was an honor to be a part of your audience. The experience gathered from books, though often valuable, is but the nature of learning, whereas the experience gained from the actual life is one of the nature of wisdom. With this interesting quote, we call it a day. Let's meet tomorrow morning to start something new. Have a good evening. Thank you.